Okay, so here we have my Steam Slightly Better Days T4 to show all of the rusty bits, or as much as I can of the rust and rot, to get a quote for fixing her up. She's been in this underground car park sitting here for a while now, so all the kind of dust and filth and mud you see on there is from that. When it's raining outside, it gets quite humid in here, so you'll see that the dust that's trapped on here fills with water, goes like mud, but I do wash it sometimes. Okay, so starting off with the windscreen, it's for an old T4, it's not so bad. There are some bits starting to show through. I think up here you can see some paint starting to flake away here. I know it's quite a common fault for these to get windscreen, to get rust under the seal. But there's nothing massively obvious under at the bottom of the windscreen where you see it. I think some of the seam sealer could do with replacing maybe. Coming around to this side, seam sealer here, you can see it's flaking up a bit. I imagine there's rust under there. There was a leak from here, so my mechanic put in some silicone up here. So getting the windscreen out and then sorting out any rust behind, the silicone mastic would need to come out and be treated with a silicone remover, which I know is a massive pain in the arse. Yeah, I don't know why he did that really. So coming further down, you can see the front driver's side wheel arch here. We've got some rust in here. So you see the underside of the wheel arch, you've got some bubbles coming through on the front wing. Doesn't look too bad. Here on the arch itself at the back, it's pretty bad. You can see we've got some rust and rot in there, and it'll all need replacing. I had to go at it with a wire wheel on an angle grinder, so that will need to come out and get welded in. You can buy the panels fairly inexpensively. Then in here as well, behind the wheel, you can see there's a lot of rot in here. Again, I took a wire wheel to it and it went through. Here I cut this out. I was going to have a little go at welding it myself, but it still needs to come further back. You see there's some perforation on there, so I need to bring it back. I just put a bit of Welford primer on it just to try and protect it while it's sitting here. Apparently these are fairly common places for the T4s to go. The seat in the front here under this plastic trim is all has all gone through, so you can see that's where I cut it out at the front, so it needed a little bit more out of there, and then a plate welded in. This is the wheel arch that needs to come out, and then this on the step here, so it's gone through here. You can see that'll come out well in the video, that's all welded through, so really it'll need a new step welded in, I think. Again, you can buy these as panels from VW. The sill under here, again my mechanic put this paint on it. I don't know quite what it is, but it's not the easiest to get off, but I think this, you can see we've got rust under there, rust under here, so I think that whole sill will need to come out anyway and be replaced. Again, you can buy those replacement panels. Under here, behind it, so you can see this is under the front step. See where those holes and rust were, and then the front step forms the sill. Try and get under without it being too jerky on the video. So you can see just taking that out and replacing the steps probably the best idea. And then behind it here, where that joins up, and at the bottom of the B column, we've got rot in there, so that'll have to be cut out and replaced. which will mean this is the fuel tank you can see coming up next to it and the sender there. So the tank will need to be dropped out to get to all this, to cut it out and replace it. The rest of it around here doesn't look too bad. Under the sliding door's in a little bit of a state, but I'm not too worried about that just for now. Sliding door step and rail for a T4 of this age isn't too bad at all. I think that's awful. You can see at the bottom of the B post here, there's some rot there that will need to be replaced. If I take this, trim up, you can see that there's some rust on that bit there, and then the sill under it. So some sections of that might need to be re-welded. Again, you can buy those, although it might be salvageable. It doesn't look awful. It depends what you need to weld onto it, I guess. But anyway, here's as kind of non-jerky a video as I can get of that. And then you see under there, see what it looks like right to the back. Underneath at the suspension mount at the back, we've got some rust on there as well, if you can see that. So again, that'll need looking at. Okay, this rear panel, I had a big old scrape down the side of. The rear arch, obviously bubbling through a lot with rust, so I think that will need taking out, so it might just be easier to replace that welding a whole new panel there. Again, you can get those relatively inexpensively. The inside of here seems okay mostly, certainly compared to the other side. That bolt there is a seat bolt spreader plate that was bolted on. I don't need that now. It's going to be a different configuration if I do get the work done, so that can come out, and then that needs to be welded up and masticed. I should have taken the bumper off really, but I haven't had a chance. But you can see in there the bit that it bolts onto, there's a bit of rust on that, not too bad. The other side's gone through, so I'd need a new one of these made up for the other side, I think. I'll see if I can get the camera up in there. I don't know if that'll come out really on this because it's probably too close. Moving around the van, I've got a load of old junk in here, but if I move this out of the way, just show on the side here we have, this is all a bit rusty here, but it doesn't seem like it's gone through anywhere. I'd need to take this off obviously to have a look, but that maybe could be just taken back and treated. Here's a couple of bits that had gone through that I've welded in plate onto. It's got primer on there. On the underneath it's just in primer as well, so I need to take that off and put some proper epoxy on it. This is another section that's been patched but not all that well. I think this would need to come out really, and you'll see under here there were some little bits of rust in here that the primer's on top of, so it'd probably be as well to take this out and redo it all. Moving on back round here, we're a little bit pressed for space down the side here. I'll see if I can get in to show you. So you have in here that had gone through. You can see where that's welded in. Again, that's just in a etch primer, so that would probably need to be taken off and redone, and then a proper mastic primer. Underneath here, you can see the bracket that holds the bumper on there. That's blown through in a couple of places, and you can see even there the rust coming through the etch primer that's on there. So that will need to be refabricated, I think. A new one made up for that. I don't think you can get those from anywhere. I've not seen them about. Moving forward here, this is pretty bad. So you can see the under here is all blown through. You can get the replacement outer arch, inner and outer arch bits, panels made up. You can see down here it's really gone through, and to the extent that we've got a hole in there that had been filled with builder's foam. So I think what's happened is a bit of water has got in and held against there, and it's rotted it out from inside and out. Doesn't stand a chance really. So this, you can buy these side panels, so it might be as well just to get the whole panel and weld it in. Take that whole panel out, sort everything out inside of it, and weld a new one in. You can see the panel in front of it, the side panel, if you can see that going down the length of the van, had a crash. It was all very dented, so it'd be good to get a new one of those welded in. Plus the sill along this side is bad and will need redoing. You can see there, gone through in a couple of places. See that? So it would probably be as well, just to, because the outer sill is obviously part of the side panel, so it'd be as well just to replace this whole side panel. You can get, you can't get the exact right one, but you can get side panels for a left-hand drive and put them on the other way around. You just have to modify the bits that go in at the bottom either end a little bit. I've read on the forums it's not too bad a job to do, and it would need to cut out about here, I think, where the where on the other side the petrol filler cap would be, the recess like that. Then moving forwards, you see the sill at the front, so we're now at the driver's door. See that's gone through a couple of places and we're replacing the bottom there as well. The sills have gone through. Not great, but none of it apparently all that difficult to do. Then you see inside the wheel arch here, there's rust there. I haven't poked about too much in that. It doesn't look great. I imagine that'll need a plate put in. You can see this wheel arch, it's got a fair bit of rust on it, so that will need to be redone, I would think. This front wing, maybe get away with it without replacing, just taking it all back and converting, but you would know better than me. Just try and get a clear shot of all of that. Let's give you the context. Got the van there. I don't know if I can get a side shot of it really, it's a bit dark down the side. You see the dent on that. It doesn't really show up very well. I'll try it without the flash. See if that helps. idea if that dented that side wing is, side panel. And then on the front bumper here, there's some bits there that look like they've rusted through. You could do with some work on. And then the other thing, moving to the back of the van again, so this is the passenger side rear wheel. The suspension mount has got a fair bit of rust on it. I'm a bit worried about this. Just behind where that rusting, that's all rusted through here. So you can see that suspension mount, a lot of rust on it. On the inside, if that will come out. Back. And the top there, I don't know if that'll come out on video. So that's also a worry. And then we're back to the front of it. I'll show you around the windscreen again. So there we have it. On the inside here, it's full of stuff, so it's difficult to show you all that much on the inside. But just to show you along the top here, we've got some little bits of rust in here. On the inside of where the pillars and seams meet. Again in there. Then we have inside of the seams here a fair bit of powdery, gingery rust, and then going down this seam here, and then on the inside of that panel there as well. So that's that little bit starting in here as well. No, quite a bit starting in there actually. So there we have it. So that's the T4. That's the highlights. Another one bit of welding is, see, I've got two roof vents. This one could do with coming out and then just being fixed up. The under there I don't think it was treated when that was put in, so it's probably a bit rusty around there, so cutting that out and either welding or cold bonding something in would be good. You can see up here, at some point in the past before I bought it, there's been some filler used on the roof which I wasn't aware about, which is cracked there. So can't see any evidence of rust under that, but you wouldn't necessarily, would you? So there we have it. Thanks for looking at the video. Sorry it's about 20 minutes long. Hopefully it'll give you some idea to base an estimate on, and that'll give me some idea of if it's worth tackling or if I should give up and get something else, which would be a shame to do. But there we have it. Cheers, bye.